All right. Well, right now I am sitting here with the one and only Jono, QUIX, Fredrick, whatever you'd like to call him.
Tiger DROOL.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I'm known by many names.
You are indeed. It's really nice to see you here in Christchurch. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah,
a couple of years.
It has, but it's been it's good to see you once again. And not long just come off the back of Shambala as well. How was that? Whirlwind.
That was. I don't know. I'm still processing everything. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of the best festivals in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And what's kind of cool is that behind the scenes, the people that put on these festivals, Shambala are like the underdogs of the festival world, because you've heard of like Insomniac who run EDC.
Yeah, all the big ones.
I mean, all the big ones. I mean, EDC Orlando, EDC Vegas, all like, they have hundreds of festivals and they're the biggest and they're the greatest and they're great. But Shambala is on that level, but they're run just independently and they just crush it. And they've been going for like, 20 years or so.
That's mad.
So I played actually Shambala, I might get this wrong, 2018 or 2019, one of those years, I can't remember.
Yeah. And
so it was actually really nice going back to Shambala and realizing like, oh man, like this is its own force to be reckoned with. Like it's its own festival.
That's so cool.
Because when I first got there, I wasn't ready for it, because they say, typically for an artist, they go, hey, when you arrive at the venue, here's your green room, here's your space, here's all your drinks that you've asked for, and here's all the comfort and all the nice stuff.
Yeah.
And then go up and play, and then go back to your hotel and then have a nice night. But for Shambala, it's like you arrive at the festival, everything's communal. Your green room is a tent, like an actual camping tent.
Okay.
And you don't get a rider. Basically, it's all still communal. So
yeah.
It was, so it was a shock getting there for the first time.
Yeah.
Surely
some artists wouldn't like that.
Yeah, there's some. The thing is, there's a culture of Shambala that you need to adapt to. Yeah. And that's why it's so good.
It's a level of respect.
It's a level of, because so much of the time it's like the artist gets, kind of like showered on from the venues. But now it's like, hey, actually, we need to shower the festival because this is precious. And it honestly is precious. The stages that are at Shambala are crazy. I played this one called the Village stage, and literally like the entire thing just looked like 6 massive, like 4-story buildings, like all around you. Giant stage, PK system. So the sound was just unreal. And I had the best time. So I got back. I went over for a week. I played a show in Winnipeg to begin with, and then the next day came back. Went to Shambala, played Shambala, came back to New Zealand. I was away for a week, and I'm still like jet lagged, but got a show at Hyde tonight, and I'm so stoked for that.
Yeah. So. Quite recently, you've had a few life changes as well. Obviously, we've had the pandemic. Obviously, we've all been through. Yes. You also have had a child in that time. Two children in that time. Which obviously, how does that change your life when it comes to being a touring DJ?
Yeah, it changes a lot. And what was really good was like the pandemic was just a big time to just stop and pre-pandemic, I was touring constantly in the States every weekend, doing some kind of show, and while that was great, I also, like when someone actually forces you to stop and have a break, and it was really nice. So interestingly, Livy and I, we got pregnant. Well, she got pregnant, obviously. That's what you say. We got pregnant.
Well, you had involvement.
I was involved at the beginning. That's typically
the easy part.
That's typically how it works.
Yeah.
No, we got we got pregnant like in February 2020, and I remember it was the day after I played Summer Classics up in Matakana. It was that Sunday, and she was like, flipping pregnant, mate. And I was like, what the heck? This is insane. I mean, we were trying. It wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
But it still is such a surprise as well. We loved it. So we found out that we were pregnant before I knew we were gonna have to wrap up the whole, like, stop shows.
Yeah.
So, and it was interesting. We had planned to actually have Otto in America.
Yeah, right.
And thank the Lord we didn't do that because it is very expensive to have a baby in America, and it is completely free to have it in New Zealand. Wow. So we obviously, like, Olivia was halfway through the pregnancy when we came back to New Zealand, and then just had all this time of no shows and raising a beautiful little boy, and he is the man. He's now 2.5, just over 2.5. In November he'll be 3. Wow. And we have a little girl named Beatrix, and she is just gone 1. And life is, it's so hectic and so amazing.
Yeah.
Like having a kid or having multiple kids, but I'll just say having a kid is the biggest life thing that you will do, and the most fulfilling and rewarding, because like you could I'm trying to compare this, but like it's really hard to compare. It's just the most fulfilling thing. I've stopped thinking about myself, and I'm consistently thinking about my kids. I'm consistently thinking about my family and how I can better us as a family, and leading my family as well as the husband. It's super important. But so doing that with shows, we've just started clicking into having a tour mentality. It's not like, hey, here's 50 dates, I'm going to go on tour. They're kind of slowly trickling in. Hey, get off of here. And it's starting to pick up.
Nice.
And my wife Olivia is amazing. And right now, like tonight, she's putting both to bed, and I just FaceTimed them before.
I was going to say, she manages you, right? Or no?
She used to.
Used to.
Well, it's interesting. She was within the management team of QUIX. Yeah. You could say QUIX is like the head thing, and then there's obviously Fredrick, and they all like fall under my management. Manage Fredrick. I don't have separate managers for anything. They all just do everything. Yeah. And so she was within kind of the media creative side, so like helping run social media, getting new ideas for this and that. Back when we didn't have kids. Holy moly, she obviously was like, see you later, QUIX team, I'm going to be a mum. And she's got
to manage 2 children now.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's way more harder than what she was doing with me. But and again, it's like so fulfilling. Yeah. And she was also doing photography and videography and all that stuff. She does do that on the side, and she does kind of, her little community of people she does photos for. Yeah. But it's really like just in-house stuff. It's not like she's publicizing herself everywhere. And what's great is that she's the flipping best. I'm just gonna like talk her up for a second right now, but she has done so much beautiful things for our family. She's got us really healthy. So the last year I've dropped like 10 kgs by just eating really well. And so she cooks from scratch. She's really big into organic eating and healthy eating. What kind of vitamins we're putting in our bodies, and not just any vitamins, but like the stuff that doesn't have all the crap in it, because you can buy the cheap vitamins, but like half of it is filled with just random BS that you don't know what you put. Anyway, so she.
My girlfriend would tell you that I probably need to come stay a weekend at your place.
Yeah, 100%. No, but she's done so much beautiful things for our family, and she's great. Yeah.
Love that. I was actually just thinking as well, one of your good friends, Alison, Wonderland, obviously also just had and it's going to be great when you guys get to all hang out and have some play dates. Yeah. But also she's like talking about how she's been playing her son music, or like her own music. Have you tested any tunes on the kids?
Yep, 100%. And it's so funny, like so I just put out a song on my latest EP called Laugh. And it's this wild banger. It's crazy. Anyway, the pre-drop vocal is just throw your hands in the air, right? Yeah. And I've been making it, I've been mixing it, mastering it, getting it like all ready and prepared.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd come in, I'd be like, hey Liv, I got a brand new think I've mixed it really well. When I hadn't, and I needed to do another like 5 revisions, but I'd bring it in and show her, and then Otto would hear just through it, and he's like, yeah, and like starts yelling it, and honestly, I'll show you a video later of him just literally just like,
He's gonna be on the rail
like
in a few years.
literally just throwing down, and it's so cool. I mean, I'm a musician. Before I started even making music on the computer, I was playing and drumming and all that stuff, and so I do lots of singing and guitar with the kids. And Otto will pick up the guitar, and he literally, I mean, for some reason he's holding it the other way, like he's left-handed when he's not. I mean, who knows? He might actually be left-handed. We'll see. But I'm pretty sure he's right-handed. Anyway. He's picking it up, and literally he'll hold it on he'll put his toe up on the ground and hold the guitar there, put this and start strumming, and he'll sing the ABCs but he wouldn't sing it like fully. He'd be like and actually do it. I'm just like,
love that.
I made you. And now you're doing like this. Who taught you that? How did you learn that? You can't tell me that. He just did it. I guess he just looked and watched and
so the natural talent that comes from the gene pool, you know.
It's quite cool.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously you've recently started this new project, which has been around for at least a year or more now. Fredrick.
Yes. Yeah. Well, interesting. Or
publicly.
To be honest though, publicly, like I actually started Fredrick when I kind of just started QUIX as well.
Okay.
It was that thing where I put out QUIX, and then I saw one of my mates. He was like, he just tried a new alias, like a new name, and I was like, whoa, that's a cool idea. Why don't I do like one of my middle names? You know, because obviously QUIX in German means quick. Sorry, now I just screwed that up. My last name is Schnell. In German, that means quick. Sorry, and then that's how I got QUIX. Big brain fart, jet lagged, whatever. And then before that, my middle name is Fredrick. And so it's really ironic. I actually didn't really like the name Fredrick. I was like confused why my parents like landed on Fredrick, but it's my dad's middle name and then his grandfather. So it's like being passed down. So I was like, well, I guess I just copped that one. But so Fredrick, I started that really early on. But obviously, like there was a lot of momentum with QUIX. I was just like, let's focus on QUIX. Let's have a good time there. And Fredrick, whatever, I just forgot about for like 8 years or so. Yeah. Then obviously we're talking about pandemic. We've all stopped. Yeah. We're not doing any shows. No one's really moving forward in any way, unless like you're putting out music that's streaming really well. But I wasn't really doing that, and I was actually in a really weird place in my life. I was mentally going through some flipping weird stuff, and it was like just before we had our daughter Beatrix. And we weren't living in our own house. We were with family, and my kind of I was just having all these kind of like thoughts on like all that I've been working for all my life could is it just gonna stay shut? Are we just gonna be like this forever? I knew in my head that I'm like, we're gonna get through it. Yeah. We're gonna play shows again, but still I just was had a little bit of like disbelief. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen next.
Wow, it was a weird time.
It was a weird time. It was everyone, right? So I thought, how do I get creative in a new way? I kind of just felt stuck with QUIX. I almost felt like QUIX was just going to stop, honestly, and I was just not going to do anything more with it. So then I said to my managers, I'm like, I want to do Fredrick, do it drum and bass, and really just completely get all these little boundary things in my head that I would have for QUIX and just throw that out of my head and go, give me a fresh start, give me something that I can get really creative with, break rules, break all the ideas of you shouldn't release music like this, you should you can't make a remix of that because you'll never get it cleared by the original artist, or you can't use that a cappella because it's ripped off YouTube or something. And all those silly like things that I would have in my head for QUIX, I'm like, I actually need to get rid of that, and how can I put that into Fredrick? And it's I think it's worked. I think we're going on something good.
Definitely, and obviously here in New Zealand we know well how much we love drum and bass.
And part of it was like, yes, I do want to cash in on like how hyped the scene is here. But the thing is, like, years before, like, I would be all skeptical about DNB, like, oh man, it's just, like the whole set is just like for a whole hour, and then some guy on a mic going, I'm just like, this flipping sounds silly. Like,
it's funny too, because that was my first impression of drum and bass as well, was like, I remember going to a drum and bass like rave and saying, well, it all just sounds the same, which I feel like a lot of people do, and I kind of cringe at it now, but now I'm a drum and bass DJ, so here we are. It's kind of funny.
I think though, like, people rock up to shows and make their first decision on what they see, and fair enough, because they haven't seen anything else yet, and it's so easy to judge and quickly like make your assumptions. But when I think we always need to like dive deeper and go, actually give it another chance. See, like, genres like drum and bass have billions of subgenres. And so I think Fredrick is lying in like this small little niche where it's like, hey, you like a bit of jungle and minimal, and it's quite dirty, but also it's got the roller kind of feel. Like, I even had to like YouTube DNB genres.
Like,
it's a bloody to actually figure out like what is like the right name.
It's literally a minefield, like the genre chat of drum and bass. There's so many genres, and it gets a bit ridiculous. I feel like the most exciting thing in drum and bass though at the moment is like the people that are, I guess, creating their own lane, and I feel like you're doing that with your sound. Is that something that you really thought about when working on Fredrick? Is like you wanted to really separate it from QUIX? Are you targeting the same audience, that sort of thing?
It was interesting. It was part of it was kind of just like a big old fluke in a way. Because it's hard to step out. I think, and it's hard to let go and try new things because when you know that something works, so we'll talk about QUIX, right? I know what kind of works. So I was like trying to apply QUIX vibes to Fredrick vibes, and I have like, I don't know, 15 started projects that I've just given up on because I'm like, it just sounds like kind of like the current style of QUIX in Fredrick. I'm like, I don't want that. What I wanted to do was find the very old QUIX that I started out doing and see if I can apply that to Fredrick. Because the old QUIX was like, and it's interesting, like, old and new styles, but the old QUIX was like more percussion driven, more sporadic, and not, I just throw songs out on SoundCloud and go, free download, make sure you follow me, or something like that. It's crazy because that kind of worked. And this is what I was thinking as well, was the whole entire electronic music scene, you could just say, and I'm talking about every single genre, has gotten popular. Well, the whole EDM genre has gotten popular based on bootlegs and remixes. Like you heard, you would hear your favorite mainstream hit, and then you would go, but have you heard that remix, this person's remix? They did this crazy thing, and now I like EDM, or now I like this kind of style. And so it came was like birthed out of just remixes and bootlegs.
Yeah, and you see that across all genres of dance music.
Yeah, and everyone's doing. But then, like, because then EDM blew up and was like a big thing, and it was going well, and everyone was like, well, because it's remixes. We love sing-alongs and because you wouldn't hear that on mainstream radio. You would, So then, So I was like, how can I apply that to Fredrick and sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but going back to QUIX, like the old QUIX, I did a lot of bootlegs and remixes, and I was my thought process with that was, if I could do a remix and get someone, if I could do a remix for this person, get their attention on me, that would be one way that I could go to the next level and step up. And I did that with Carmack and his Uppers track with Stooky Sound, and I thought, man, if I remix this and I do a pretty okay job, there's a good chance that they're gonna hopefully like it, play it out, and then I'll get that recognition. Like, they'll post it, their audience will see me, and I will then grab their audience. And it's about like grabbing different audiences, and I feel like that was my kind of vision for Fredrick. So now on Fredrick, my Instagram, I've done these things where I will post a bootleg or a remix or a flip. I call them Fredrick flips, right? I was trying to do it every Friday. Fredrick's Friday flips. Like, I was trying to do how many alliteration. If. Let's crack up. And so, the plan was to release a flip and say, hey, throw it on your story, throw my reel on your story, tag me or something, and make sure like it gets in my DM, and I will send you a Dropbox link of the WAV file. And that did so much better than I thought it would. I did a Dimension UK flip, and that has got like 20,000 plays on my Instagram.
That's wild.
I'm not even at 1,000 followers yet, man. Far out. I feel like it's just, it's not anything new that I tried. It's just going back to the old, okay, do a remix and follow to download, basically.
Going back to basics.
That's back to basics, isn't it?
It's interactive as well.
100%. And interactive, that's right, because I'm personally sending it to someone on Instagram. So the Fredrick account, which they know is still me, like I'm the one that runs it, like my managers don't run it. They know that they'll know that Fredrick sent it, but they'll also know QUIX sent it, which is that also a little bit of like, oh yeah, cool, like I know that it's a personal touch. And I always try and like, love heart their story, or say thank you so much, and like send the link, just so that it's that little personal touch, and then they're like, sweet, I want to come see your show, or like I want to, I can't wait for the next release, and then it gets bigger and bigger and build 100%. But I couldn't have done Fredrick and the hype it's got. Obviously I did start it with the help with the QUIX audience. Like, there was obviously like a bunch of like hardcore QUIX fans that were like, whoa, you're posting this and this and this, let's see what's going on. So there was a little hype from QUIX that helped, and then now it's just started to kind of grow by itself. And
you did previously have a few genre-based releases with QUIX as well, so you gave people a little bit of a taste, although different sounds.
Yeah, different sounds, more like that QUIXy. I don't even know what to call it. It's not mainstream EDM. I want it to be to the side of mainstream, but a little nudge in the door, just to be like, hey, like, I want to reach as many people as possible, and how can everyone like this music at once,
100%. No, I think it's really cool that you've got both projects now. You can still smash out some dubstep and some trap from time to time.
Yes.
You can still enjoy that, but also jump into some drum and bass as well, and have two very different sets. That must be interesting though, like when you've just done Shambala and then you're coming here as well, you've got two different sets on very different scales to be thinking about.
It's a lot of work. And not only different sets, but with all my shows now, I have a full visual time-coded set that just happens on the video wall behind me. I want to make, like, it's quite cool because it just adds that little bit of, like, production level that makes the shows very exciting. And it wasn't even just that. It was, I've got my QUIX show with the QUIX visuals. I got the Fredrick show with the Fredrick visuals that everyone will see tonight, you know. And then Shambala had its own visual, which was basically a copy of the QUIX set, which is because I played as QUIX. But I mean, we could nerd out. I could nerd out for a second, but I don't think everyone wants to hear it. But basically, there was like, you know, it wasn't like a standard, like, normal TV screen at Shambala. It was like 28 different bits and bobs, bits of video wall that I had to map individually. So when I post video content from Shambala, please go and see it, because
it's a lot of work.
I worked so hard on that. It was like 2 weeks of just consistent, like,
it must be the most satisfying thing though, when you can actually get it right and, you know, can pull it off.
Well, the thing is, man, at Shambala, we had a 2.5 hour sound check and trying to get those visuals to work, and the last 10 minutes they worked. There was about 20 minutes where I was just like, give up, I don't care. I do not want to deal with this, because I'd just done a show in Winnipeg before and had, like, straight after the show, had not slept, gone straight to the airport, had gone to Shambala. So I was running off like a couple of hours sleep, and I was just like, this is no. Yeah, and then it worked, and I was like, oh yeah, now let's go relax. So yeah, man.
And what have you got in terms of what's coming up with Fredrick? What have you got on the horizon that you can talk about?
I got more shows. We just announced a couple more shows on the New Zealand tour. One in Wellington, one in Ashburton. Oh yeah, which is super close from here, isn't it?
We should probably talk about Little Shredder. We're going to talk about Shredder. Yes. This is probably one of my favourite yarns, because I love this little man.
Yeah,
and
let's
also
talk about Shredder for a second.
And I love that you've given him. Yeah, please do. I love that you've given him an opportunity and put him on the show, because that man, that boy, he's been wanting to get on the show for quite some time, and it's, you know, it's so cool to see someone so young like have that passion.
Basically, every time I've played in Christchurch, I've asked the venue, can Shredder play? You know, he's 13, I think. Yeah. 12 or 13, and I want, you know, can his dad come? His dad is like his biggest supporter. Yeah. Like, dad, then me. Yeah. But Hyde is a little different. They can't have anyone under the age of 18, and that's just their license. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was like, literally got the offer to Ashburton. I accepted it, and then my first email, I said to my agent, give me the promoter's email. I need to ask them this one question. And I was like, hey, don't know if you've heard of Shredder before, DJ Shredder. He's 13 years old. He's one of the best DJs I know. And he, you know, can he come with his dad and he'll play a set? And then they wrote back straight away going, oh yeah, of course. Like, our license accepts, you know, legal guardians, caregivers, you know, parents, basically, to come and supervise. You know, he can play. And boom. And then I got FaceTime him. I FaceTime Nate, and I was like, hey, do you want to play a show? You want to play your first show in Ashburton? And he was super chill about it. He's like, whoa, yeah, cool, man, that's awesome. But I know on the inside, he was just like,
losing his mind.
Yes!
That's so cool.
Yeah, man, like, he'll remember that night. Like, it's like a month and a half away or so. And he'll remember that night for his whole life. I remember my first show. Yeah. And it was, I mean, my first show is probably not going to be as good as what his first show is going to be, but still.
He's insanely talented.
His dad was telling me, because his dad was like my mentor growing up, right? And my parents were very good friends still with his parents. And I mean, like, he held me as like a baby boy, as a little newborn man, like, so
it's full circle.
It's full circle. I can't believe it. It's gonna be the greatest night, eh? And I'm gonna be there, like, right next to him, the whole seat going crazy. Sorry, what I was gonna say is his dad told me that he wakes up at 6 a.m. every morning, practices his doubles and triples for like an hour before school, then goes to school, does Crusher's school, comes back home, does his homework, probably has dinner. After that, straight back onto doubles and triples, like practicing everything. And
so good.
He is just dedicated, man.
Yeah. I can't wait to see when he's, you know, old enough to be able to play a show in the clubs and actually see where he's at, because like just having all of those hours behind him is just mad.
And he started when he's like 13. He has all the time in the world, like ridiculous time. As a parent, I do not have. It's
probably the best time in your life to learn something. You've got no other worries in your life really apart from school.
In 5 years, if he's like still like in the zone of like, he will be one of the like legit the best DJs in New Zealand.
Exactly. Watch out for that boy, Jesus.
DJ Shredder, man.
Yeah, unstoppable. I was also going to mention, talking about like future projects and stuff, like it's really cool at the moment because I just think music's at such an interesting point at the moment. I feel like it had a bit of a weird time. COVID's definitely had a lot to answer for in that. Like everything's coming back around. There's heaps of new sounds and everything feels full again. It's not just drum and bass, because we were seeing a lot of just drum and bass. But like artists, like I've just noticed, like what's so not making drum and bass as well. Like it would be pretty cool to see you guys not only work on trap and dubstep, but now also go on to like make drum and bass potentially in the future, if you haven't already.
No, like Chris is the man. What's so not? He's always just been creative in any which genre. He's made like the most heavier stuff, the most chill stuff, and both have been like big.
100%.
So I think anything he touches is gold. I'd definitely be keen. What funny thing that I should mention, that you know, if you're listening to this and you've gone, how far have we done? We've done 32 minutes.
30 minutes.
So you listened to 32 minutes of this. Good on you. Well done. Secret sauce time. Today I just started a QUIX track, a collab with a Kelly and DROOL.
Oh, Jesus, all right.
Which is like, and it was so impromptu. I was on the airport, Auckland domestic airport, and DROOL just like texted me and he was like, hey, like, here's a bunch of whips. And then I was like, sick, let me check them out. And the first one I listened to, I'm like, dude, this is mean. And then as I was listening to it, he wrote back saying, that one is actually for a Kelly. Anything else is good. I'm like, oh, no worries, man, obviously it's fine. And then he wrote back saying, wait, do you want to get on the collab? And I was like, yeah. So then all of a sudden I'm downloading stems. We're in a 3-way chat with like all these like, you know, 2 of the legend trap dudes. And 100%. So so I just started that today.
That's so sick. So I can't wait until that releases and we can think back on this moment.
Because it was today it started, but we're not going to post about it. It's only if you hear this.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. You can talk about it, but we're not going to post anything of that. When the song does come out, hopefully we can refer back to this moment and post about it. But you know now, because you actually did your due diligence of listening all the way through. So,
also, and bringing up another project, Tiger Drool. Is there any work on the horizon with Tiger Drool?
Yeah, Tiger Drool's been interesting. It's been tough collaborating with Rob because he lives in Winnipeg. Although it's crazy, I just
were there
and hung out with him and gave him the biggest hug, and I have not seen him in like 3 years, well, since COVID. So it was so nice to see him and like play some Tiger Drool stuff together. We have like an EP worth of music that is ready. It just needs to be like fine-tuned, mixed, and then just sent away. But you know, we both got so much going on. It's just that classic. We just probably should, you know, we need to spend like a couple of weeks just like getting it done, and then it's done. So, you know,
you got to fall a few balls to juggle with them.
it's a classic, but there is lots of music out there, or not out there, but there's lots of music in store ready for Tiger Drool. If you're clever, you can go online and find all the IDs. I'm pretty sure all of them are out there, but it's just time.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you taking the time to come and have a chat in the Hyde offices. And I'm very excited to see the 360 tonight.
I'm so stoked, man.
Gutted for anyone listening who has missed it.
It popped.
It pops.
We're good.
So good. Thank you so much for your time, legend.
Legend, man.